What if the pyramids are not mysterious because we don't understand how they were built, but because we still don't fully understand why they were built with such extreme precision and intention? For thousands of years, these enormous structures have stood in the Egyptian desert, perfectly aligned, mathematically consistent, and almost untouched by time, as if they were designed not just to last for centuries, but to challenge every generation that tries to explain them. When you first look at the Great Pyramid of Giza, it may seem like nothing more than a massive pile of stones stacked on top of each other. But the deeper you look, the more it begins to feel like something far more calculated. Something that reflects not only engineering skill, but a deep understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and long-term planning that still raises questions today. So before we even ask how they built it, we have to ask something more important. What were they really trying to achieve? The Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2580 to 2560 BC during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, also known as Cheops, who ruled Egypt during the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom, a period often referred to as the Golden Age of Pyramid Construction. It was not an isolated project, but part of a larger complex that included smaller pyramids, temples, and worker settlements, all designed and constructed under a centralized system that reflected the power and organization of the Egyptian state at that time. The construction of the pyramid was not done by slaves, as many people still believe, but by a highly organized workforce of skilled laborers, craftsmen, engineers, and planners who worked in rotating teams, often during the Nile flood season when farming was not possible, which allowed the state to mobilize thousands of workers without disrupting agricultural production. The Great Pyramid is made up of approximately 2.3 million stone blocks, and the total mass of the structure is estimated to be around 6 million tons, which makes it one of the heaviest structures ever built by humans. Most of the stones used in the core of the pyramid are local limestone, extracted from quarries located just a few hundred meters away from the site, while the outer casing stones were made of high-quality white limestone brought from Tura, giving the pyramid a smooth and reflective surface when it was first completed. Inside the pyramid, especially in the king's chamber, massive granite blocks were used, and these stones were transported from Aswan, which is located more than 800 kilometers away, meaning that the builders had to manage long-distance logistics in addition to local construction. Individual blocks typically weigh between 2 and 5 tons, while some of the granite blocks used inside the pyramid can weigh up to 60 or even 70 tons, which makes their transportation and placement even more impressive. The construction process began with careful planning and leveling of the ground, which was likely done using water-filled trenches to ensure that the base of the pyramid was perfectly horizontal, something that is still difficult to achieve even with modern equipment. Stones were then cut using copper chisels, stone hammers, and simple tools, with limestone being relatively easy to shape, while granite required much more effort and was worked using pounding stones made of harder materials like dolerite. Once the stones were prepared, they were transported using wooden sledges, which were pulled by teams of workers across the sand. And recent discoveries have shown that water was poured in front of the sledges to reduce friction and make movement easier. After reaching the construction site, the stones were lifted into position using ramp systems, which could have been straight, zigzag, or even spiral in design, allowing workers to gradually move materials higher as the pyramid grew in height. It is estimated that around 20,000 to 30,000 workers were involved in the construction of the pyramid, and these workers were not unskilled laborers, but organized teams with specific roles, including stone cutters, transport workers, engineers, and supervisors. They lived in nearby settlements, were provided with food such as bread, meat, and beer, and even had access to medical care, which suggests that the project was managed with a high level of organization and planning. This was not a chaotic construction site, but a carefully controlled operation where every task was part of a larger system. And this level of coordination is one of the key reasons why the pyramid could be built with such precision. What makes the pyramid even more fascinating is that some of its design features still seem ahead of its time, because its alignment to the cardinal directions is extremely precise. And some researchers argue that its proportions reflect mathematical constants like pi and the golden ratio, which raises questions about how much the ancient Egyptians really knew. Additionally, modern scanning technologies have revealed hidden voids inside the pyramid that were not previously known, and their purpose remains unclear, which suggests that the pyramid may still contain undiscovered elements that could change our understanding of its design and function. The pyramids are not just the result of human effort, but the result of planning, knowledge, and a system that worked with incredible efficiency thousands of years ago. When we look at them today, we are not just seeing a structure, but a message from the past that tells us how much humans were capable of achieving even without modern technology. So maybe the real mystery is not how they built the pyramids, but why we still find it so hard to believe that they could. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more deep and fascinating stories like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves mysteries and history as much as you do. Your support helps us create more content like this and bring even more hidden stories to light.